FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
It's time for Tell It to Stanya. It's all about you. Ooh, let's peel away the layers and focus on you. Ooh, what's going on inside? Let's talk about love and truth and the matter of who we are. Let's find out together on Tell It to Stanya.
Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows.
Good afternoon, Bahamas.
Turkey and
you're locked into Guardian Radio. I'm your host today, sitting in for Stanya Davis, who will be in next week. And my name is D. DeMarla Smith. I'm here with my co-host, Megan Johnson. And my alter ego is Dr. D. Although I profess not to have a doctoral degree, I do have a master's in psychology. And I'm here today to talk about romance versus reality. And being that this is the Christmas season, our theme is Under the Mistletoe. So if you will permit me, meet me under the mistletoe so that we can talk about the stresses, the tensions, the expectations, and the quiet despair that oftentimes come with the Christmas season. Megan Johnson, welcome to Guardian Radio.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Megan is a professional, by the way. Megan come in here looking all dapper and stuff, but Megan also is a clinical psychologist. Megan, tell us about your expertise.
Well, I wouldn't say expertise. I just have some information in my corner of the world. But I have a master's in clinical community psychology, and what else? Before the master's, I attended COB at the time, bachelor's in psych, and I got a master's, and now I'm home working on my license.
Okay, Megan, and you told me during the break that you're passionate about helping people, working with people, different populations. What populations do you work with?
Primarily children and adolescents.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my neck of the woods.
Excellent. And so you're here today to give us some tips on how to deal with the stresses and tensions of the Christmas season.
Hoping to add some good insight from where I stand, yeah.
Definitely, we hope to, because this time of year, this is my favorite time of the year.
Okay.
This is my favorite time of the year. And not just because my birthday is in the month of November, but also because Christmas season is a time of sharing, of a time of coming together. Family members come from near and far. Family members travel from here abroad. And so it's all about love, relationships. And our second segment will be geared towards those who find themselves in relationship despair during the holidays, meaning you're recently single.
Okay.
And that is something that not often is looked at. We don't look at it often. Persons who suffer a breakup during the holiday season, and they have to navigate that realm alone for the holidays.
Yeah.
So we want to give them some tips as well.
Okay, good stuff.
And and our lines are going to be open today. So we want you to join in the conversation. We want you to keep locked into Guardian 96.9, the best radio station out there. And we want to give you excellent tips. We want to give you direction in how to navigate the emotional stages of breakups, of the holiday season, of the expectations that family members, friends, significant others would have of you, and also the financial strain of the holiday season, because the holiday season brings with it brings with it not just the gifts, not just the food, not just the festivities, But the holiday season brings with it a financial burden that is not otherwise placed on you year round. We prepare in a few weeks for one day that lasts about 3 to 4 hours. And so if this resonates with you, please join our conversation, because to make this meaningful, your voices are needed. We need your voices. We need your input to make this meaningful. So as you're out there shopping, traversing the streets, I know traffic is another stressor, because the roads are overcrowded with persons hustling and bustling and trying to get that last minute gift in, get that last minute trim for the tree, get that last minute paint to paint the house. We are in preparation mode up to the end. And so this in itself is very, very difficult for persons to navigate. So let's start by looking at the Christmas chore war. And that's what I'm going to talk about first. In Christmas season, we have, in relationships, in households, in homes, we have different expectations for different persons. And so the Christmas chore war, is it 50-50? Or is one person doing 90% of the mental, taking on 90% of the mental load? So Megan, what are your thoughts from your perspective?
Now, growing up as a girl child in the Bahamas, right? Most of that burden was placed on the girl children of the home, the wives, mothers, sisters, nieces, whoever, cousins. And so the domestic side of the chores were primarily assigned to the women.
Okay.
The painting, of course, would be directed by the women, but may include the men, you know what I mean? But in terms of like making the home festive and ensuring that it's clean and open for guests or whatever, that would be the women, from what I know of myself and my family and friends. Yeah, it was always the women.
Okay, excellent. But it's interesting that you would say that who directs the task and who carries out the task.
Not all the tasks. No, not all the tasks.
And so you were talking about the women directing the tasks and the men carrying out certain tasks. But that oftentimes elicits conflict. And so what we want to dive deep into is, some healthy ways to delegate tasks so that we can navigate that properly. Because we have expectations, we have timelines, and those timelines sometimes are incongruent with our partners, their mental load, their physical load. They have work to do. And oftentimes, some of us have a laid-back attitude. So how do both parties navigate delegation of tasks to avoid those conflicts or to have healthy conflicts?
Yeah, because conflict is not bad, Conflict is a part of life, just as stress is a part of life. And so stress is not an excuse to shirk your responsibilities or whatever you've dedicated yourself to do. I think what's most important is communication, and communication with the intention to understand, to listen, to understand, and not to defend or not to criticize. And you know what I mean? There's a position, a posture that you take when you speak with persons that you love or close to you in your family, that talks about care and compassion and empathy. And we can do that in the very simple conversations that we have every day, delegating tasks to do it with grace and with love and without being a drill sergeant that turns people off,
Definitely. And what oftentimes happen is persons, and I'm glad you mentioned listening to respond versus listening to understand. Oftentimes we use escalating words in our conversation. We use caustic words or words that have sharp edges. And those words, they have an intended target and they have an intention. And when that intention occurs, then we see the conflict magnified.
Absolutely.
And you can go from a little flame to a big broiling fire.
Right.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that, and we do need to find healthier ways to manage the conflict that we have, because of course the stresses that come with Christmas will elicit conflict.
And that's on both ends, That's on the one receiving the instructions and giving the instructions, because in any conflict, if you have two people, or everyone plays a role.
Yes.
And so while someone may say something very incendiary or to make you upset, how you respond is also important. And so do you want to escalate the situation? Do you want to de-escalate the situation? The end goal is really where you have to focus. You can't focus on how you feel in the moment, because you will respond in kind, and then you have this big blow up.
And I'll say this without being too loquacious. I'll say this in layman's terms. You got to choose to lose the battle to win the war.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we as individuals try to win the battle, not realizing that we may lose the war by winning this one battle. All right. So now let's bring this more on a more loving tone. Let's bring this home, like for the holidays. There's something that many couples experience, and we call it the proposal pressure.
My God, today.
So now you know that
Star 106.
you know that
Good afternoon, man. Listen, we are out here on this beautiful Saturday, boy. What it is, December.
you know that you've been sorry about that. You know that you've been in a relationship for many years, and there's an expectation, or you may have been in for a few months, but there's still an expectation. So, December is the month of engagements. Is it cheesy or predictable or too much pressure to propose on Christmas? Or is it the ultimate romantic move?
I don't know. I think relationships are too personal to paint this situation with one brush. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's an individuality about every relationship, and so I think if the Christmas is important and a memorial for you and your partner, then doing it around this time could be romantic. But just because it happens around this time doesn't make it romantic. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, and I take your point that it is personal to the individuals.
Yeah.
And so what I want is not for us to talk too much, but I want to hear from you, the listening audience. Call us. Let us know if you got engaged on Christmas. Do you love it or do you hate it? If you're hoping for a ring, are you setting yourself up for disappointment? So call us. Our numbers are 323-6232, 325-4316, and 325-4259. Call us and let us know of your experiences this Christmas or any past Christmases where you were in anticipation of that ring, of that proposal, just looking around the tree to see if the gifts, what kind of gifts you're getting, and if the boxes are small or great. Let us know. Call us in, share with us. Let us impact the universe by what we say here today. So while we wait on those calls to come in, let's talk a little bit about the gift value crisis. Oh, I see. Oh, so the gift value crisis, big versus small. Are we looking for big luxurious gifts, or do good things come in small packages? How much weight do you place on what your partner brings to the table? How much weight do you place on the value spent on the gift that your partner gives to you? What are your thoughts on that? Oh, we have a call. We have a call coming in. Let's hear from this caller. I'm going to take that information from you,
I'll
Megan,
hold my thoughts,
as soon as
yeah.
we hear from this caller. Good afternoon. You're on Guardian Radio 96.9. Talk to us. This is
Good
Dr.
afternoon
D.
to the both of you. How y'all doing?
We're well.
Good. Thanks.
And yourself?
Wonderful. Great. Well, I'm not calling about the expectation of a ring or whatever have you, but I want to just reference what the lady just said about the romantic feeling of Christmas. I believe next to Valentine's, I believe Christmas is one of the most romantic and joyous season of the year. I believe.
Yes, and I agree with you. I agree with you because as we spoke of earlier, it is about coming together. It's about most of Christmas has to do with fellowship. And everybody, couples fellowship, there are more parties, there are more festivities. Every business establishment has a Christmas party.
And just being with your loved one and your family, but mostly the person that you love that's in your life, your wife, your girlfriend, just being with them in that season. It's so romantic and such a special feeling. I mean, especially during Christmas. I mean, it feels even better during Christmas than Valentine's. Honestly speaking.
Yeah, that's a good perspective, caller. But tell me. So, what's your take on the proposal at Christmas? Are you married? Did you propose at Christmas? If you are,
no.
What's your take on proposals at Christmas?
I didn't propose on Christmas, so I can't relate to it. I can't speak on it. But I believe if someone is proposed to on Christmas, I believe that's also a very special feeling to be proposed to on the day. So in the season that Jesus was born, in the season, because we don't know the actual day. But what we celebrate is we celebrate the fact that he was born. You see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Just in that season alone, I believe that would be deemed as a very special occasion to be proposed to on Christmas Day.
Excellent. Thank you for your comments, caller.
My pleasure.
We do appreciate you. Yes.
Okay, take care.
So, Megan, now it's your opportunity to talk to us about. Oh, we have another caller. Caller, you're on Guardian Radio 96.9. Talk to us. This is Dr. D and Megan, sitting in for Stanya Davis.
Good afternoon, Dr. D. How you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Good afternoon, Ms. Johnson. I hope all is well.
Thanks for calling. Hi.
Yeah. So I'm calling in reference to the pressures of proposing during this time. I agree. It's a very, very romantic time, and I heard the last call. I agree with him too. I think after Valentine's, Christmas is right there. My plight I'd give you is for a young man in my 30s, dating a young woman, very serious, but not ready to be married as yet. I feel so much pressure when you go on the social medias and you see persons getting engaged. And how do I now look at the woman that I love and tell her, well, baby, it ain't time just yet?
So, Megan.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you take a stab at this one from the female perspective.
I know what it is to be a woman and look around and see people who look like you, believe in what you believe, get what they want, seemingly. And so it's natural to also want that. And so there is this pressure outside of Christmas to be in relationship as a woman. There's pressure to find a partner, to get married, have kids. And so for some, not all, for some there's this clock, right, that goes off, and it's kind of loud during the Christmas season, especially if people that you know are coupling up or getting affianced, whatever you want to say. And so I think when you have outside pressure it's easier to deal with if you don't feel the same way. But when you feel the pressure yourself, you and your partner have to talk about that. Like I said, communication is the medium by which we resolve conflict. And so if you feel that there is pressure and you just going about your day trying to pretend that it's not there, then it creates more harm than good. If you talk about the expectations and you're honest and transparent, I think you and your partner can figure out, okay, well, what is real for us? Is this something that we want to do now? Are you ready? Am I ready? What's going to help us be ready? What does ready look like? You know what I mean? Like having those hard conversations would resolve a lot of this, the torment that we experience in our relationships, I believe.
I think torment is a very, very good word to use. But no, I appreciate your perspective. I spoke to my sister about it. She kind of smart, and she had something similar to say. So I feel like having that conversation probably will do me more harm than good. Because the last thing I want is for her to, jump slick and tell me she feel like I wasting time, and then she go elsewhere. I don't want to lose this one. But finances and family dynamics. It just ain't the right time. But I appreciate your thoughts and your perspective so much, Miss Johnson.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, caller.
Good luck.
And good luck to you is correct. I think what we and to that caller's credit, acknowledgement of where you at is a good first step.
For sure.
And so once you acknowledge where you're at, I think having a conversation, a constructive conversation, is the next step. But beyond that, in relationships, to be fair to both parties, we should come together as individuals to the table, outlining our expectations.
Absolutely.
Because when we outline our expectations, we know which path we are traveling on, and if we are traveling together or if we are diverging. And so we need to have that conversation too. Oftentimes we shy away from that conversation because it is seen to be too hard of a conversation to have.
Yeah.
We gravitate towards that fusion and the fusion of the relationship. When you first get those bubbles and those butterflies in your stomach when you see the person, that fusion is it's like a drug. So we chase that fusion, and so we want to keep that and kindle that for as long as we can.
Right.
That oftentimes could cause problems if we don't have the conversations early on in the relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
So, caller, I hope that we assisted you and helped you to navigate a little bit better on that path, and I hope that you're able to have some more clarity based on talking to us today. And I hope that those in the listening audience were able to have some clarity based on what was said in that between those last two callers. We have another caller on the line. Let's get this caller. Good afternoon, Guardian Radio 96.9. You're talking to Dr. D and Megan Johnson.
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing? Ms. Johnson? How are you all today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. I heard the first two callers, and I just wanted to have a little pushback. I think I'm a very festive young man, and I think that the holidays should be reserved for enjoying it. I feel like Valentine's is right around the corner. I feel like if you want to propose and do all of those things, I think you should leave it to the Hallmark movies, leave it to enjoyment, but you shouldn't put that pressure on yourself during the holidays, man. I don't know. I feel like there's enough pressure with gifts and with other things. I don't feel like you need to add that around the holidays. What do you say?
You have a point. I don't know, Dr. D, how you feel about that?
I think every perspective has their value, and I think for as many of those who feel like how this caller feels, how you feel, caller, there are some who feel like this may be a special and momentous occasion to be proposed to in the Christmas, notwithstanding the fact that, as Megan stated earlier, some persons on a time clock, and their time clock is expiring on the 31st of December, 2025. So what do you say to those persons?
I mean, boy, I know my thing is love, right? if that expires on the 31st, I don't know if you should have it in the first place. Probably should have left it in the store. I mean, that's me personally. I know.
Yeah. Well, and the good thing is, no two lives are the same. Everyone can experience life in their own way. What's important for you may not be important for someone else. And so if that's how you feel, I'm sure there are people in your life who you surround yourself with who also feel like that and can validate your experience. I think every experience is worth validation. If that's your life, then, that's a reality for you. Yeah.
Understood. I mean, I respect that. I just wanted to add another half, because it seemed like everybody was for it, but like you say, I just feel like there needs to be balance. So I just wanted to represent the other half.
And we thank you for that, caller. We thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I'll enjoy yourself.
You too.
All right, take care.
Okay, we have another call on the line. Caller, you're listening to Guardian Radio 96.9 with Dr. D and Megan. Talk to us.
Yeah, good afternoon. How y'all doing?
Okay, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm just listening to the show, but let me see. And you're speaking about finances. How soon should you discuss this finances situation, individual situation? Should you know about the other half finances a day after meeting them? You think that's too soon to know everything about their finances and how they're situated?
Oh yeah, I think that's too soon.
I think that the financial conversation is not a conversation in silos. That's a conversation that should be had by two persons who are outlaying the foundation for a roadmap to marriage. And so when you are outlaying the foundation for marriage, then when you get to that point whereby you understand and you say that we are now progressing on this path towards the altar, then that financial conversation is critical, because that financial conversation gives you an insight into how to manage your expectations of yourself and of the other individual.
Even though you would have some individuals who believe that it should be discussed long before that, I always say, or you hear, the men don't have it together. Men, they need to pull their boots up. They need to get it together. But then, as a man, you run into women who are facing the same challenges that what they claim that men are going through in terms of not having it together. I asked someone one time after listening to all of their financial hardship, I said, okay, had I told you the same things which you're telling me, that I'm living from paycheck to paycheck, I have my bills out of control, I said, would you still be interested in dating me? She said, yes, even though I know that was a lie. But that is basically some of the mitigating factors why these things don't work, because in a lot of instances, we don't discuss finances from the beginning stages. We do all the other things, ask all the other questions, and then we have these financial expectation that in some cases, had it been discussed earlier, we perhaps not even would have been together.
Yeah, I'm leaning more toward the caller. I definitely wouldn't say the second day. Like if you meet someone today, you'll go out, maybe not a first date conversation, but I think in the early stages, within the first couple of weeks, couple of months, we should have at least a surface level conversation about where we stand, what our expectations are, what do we see for ourselves in the next couple of years. You don't have to spill your guts about and bring your bank statements to the dinner table, but at least give me some idea of where you are, so that I can make a decision, an informed decision, because I cannot make a decision if I don't have information. You know what I mean? As a woman, I should say.
Yeah, that's basically, I always try to advise young men, that's a conversation that should be had, but then it depends on how soon. But then sometimes some people don't even prepare you to have these discussions. When you meet them, that's basically that's all what they talk about. It's their hardship and their financial situation and stuff like that. But I think that's a very important issue, and you just have to determine exactly at what stage do you have this type of discussion.
Yeah.
to alleviate, a lot of pain from some people and the expectation that perhaps never don't even.
Yeah.
Definitely, you would want to have that conversation, caller. And sometimes you mentioned persons getting into those conversations early and talking about their difficulties and so forth. But what we must understand and appreciate also is that most people, or a lot of persons rather, they're in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, it doesn't mean that you're going to be in survival mode for the rest of your life, but you may be in a situation where you're 6 months in survival mode and you meet someone in that interim. You're looking for help more so than you're looking for love at that point. And so you have to cross these bridges as you get them.
Yeah.
And so you, in terms of two people coming together, you have to know where she's at, she has to know where you're at. And like Megan said, then both of you can make an informed decision as to how you all are going to progress.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about love. Right? I am one who don't believe in that Romeo and Juliet type concept, right? I believe that but if you follow the Bible perspective on love, the man really supposed to love and the woman really supposed to respect. And for me, I believe that love is more European than what it is African, but I think that this love thing kind of creates a lot of hardship and stuff like that, and find people doing a lot of dumb things, but I hear people talk, oh, I love you and this and all the other stuff like that, but me, I'm more focused on having mutual respect for each other. If you love someone, because, when you look out, you can ask any police officer, these guys who get involved in domestic violence and stuff like that, the minute they arrest them, the first thing they say is, oh, I love that person. I love them, and that is why they did what they had to do. But I believe if you have mutual respect for one another, which I believe will trump love, whenever you are faced with these things, you'll be able to walk away, as opposed to getting caught up in the emotional aspect of love. I think the respect is basically more important than the love thing for me.
When we respect ourselves, caller, and when we respect our significant other or others, it is easy for us to overtly show them love, because that respect comes in first. When you respect someone, you're going to speak to them with respect. You're gonna treat them with respect. And so it's easy for them to receive that and feel the love that you're issuing to them, because you respect them first. And so I thank you for that contribution,
Yeah,
caller.
thank you so much for your perspective.
I see we have another caller on the line. Caller, you're talking to Dr. D and Megan. You're on Guardian Radio 96.9. Talk to us.
Hi, good evening, Dr. and Miss Johnson.
Good afternoon.
I have an issue. So I understand the whole pressures of the season, and I partially agree with the gentleman who's saying let Christmas be Christmas. But of all the hopeful people out there who expect this to be like the best Christmas that they have ever had, and they're waiting on the engagement and they're waiting on the ring, what do you tell the people who've gotten close to that point for this in this season, but because of life issues and people losing family members, that it seems like it is stalled, and you don't want to put pressure on your significant other, but it's like, I've been waiting here 3 and 4 years and ain't nothing happening. So what we supposed to do in that case, like, how do we talk and open up about like tender issues that we feel are really hard to talk about, but we still want to be happy in the end. And Christmas makes everything feel hopeful. But on the flip side, it's like there's no hope. So what do we do?
Thank
Megan,
you. Yeah, let me jump on this. Thank you so much for that question, because I feel like a lot of people may have it and don't know how to verbalize it. So I appreciate you for that. But I think there's power in understanding why you feel the pressure. You know what I mean? If you believe that this is really the time and the space and the opportunity, without looking to the left or the right, you get an outside pressure, whatever, then of course your motive will guide how you move in the situation.
Definitely.
And that will take reflection. You know what I mean? Looking at yourself and looking at your expectations, looking at what you've been told all your life and what you believe. And this may seem a little mystical, but we cannot make good decisions without reflecting on how they impact us, what they mean to us now and in the future. And so recognizing where the pressure is, why you feel the pressure, I think is important on an individual level before you even talk to your partner about it. You know what I mean? And a lot of that will take exploring and trying to understand a little bit more about yourself. We think we know ourselves, but when you sit back and you ask yourself the questions like, okay, why is this important to me right now? Why am I responding the way I am? Why does this hurt so much for me? And does that make sense? I feel like if we are to understand or figure out solutions in our lives, we first have to understand ourselves and what a solution would mean for us. Yeah.
Definitely. The trigger, we have to introspect. And when we introspect not only to understand why we feel this way, but what makes us feel this way. What are the triggers? Mm-hmm. And the triggers could be a scent, it could be a sound, it could be a response. Mm-hmm. It could be as simple as someone slamming the fridge door.
Yeah.
That could be a trigger. And so we need to understand what these means to us, what these schemas that we formulate in our minds means for us, and how they cause us to interact with our environment and our significant others.
Absolutely. Because if you go in blind, right? You go in very reactive. You go in looking for something specifically, and then when you don't get it, you respond, right? Maybe not in a way that's helpful for the situation, but like I said, that escalates the situation. But if you go in understanding your motives and yourself and why something is important to you, and you can communicate with your partner about what your reality is right now, what's hard, what's difficult, then I think that helps a lot in how you come up with a solution. How do we figure this out? How do we keep the relationship while going through all the stress and protecting each other, protecting our bond, protecting what we want for the future, making good decisions without being rash or being impulsive or being so deep in your feelings that you say something you can't take back or you do something that you regret. Do you know what I mean? Like, it saves you so much heartache if you understand a lot about why things are impacting you the way they are. Yeah.
That's a mouthful you said there.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And that that is so powerful what you said. And I hope that it resonates with the audience, because that is, you can't pay for conversations like that. Mm-hmm. That conversation, it is very impactful for many persons, and our listeners out there. I know there are many persons who are going through similar situations where they can, they're just looking for a solution.
Yeah.
And so that guide, that roadmap that you just laid out, that is helping many people out there today. Today under the sound of our voice.
Yeah.
Because I really don't want to leave them. I just need to know what to do. Because I feel like we've just been in this space. We was there, and now we ain't there. And it's like every Christmas I get hopeful, and I don't want to be 40 and going into the new year without my husband. So.
Yeah, and that's a tough one, because, you get your hopes up, especially around the holidays, where like you said, everything is hopeful, everything is joyful, la-di-da-di-da. And then you get your feelings hurt, or you get disappointed, and it feels even more intense than usual, because it's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be this way. It's supposed to work out. I supposed to be engaged by now. So we place so many expectations on ourselves and on our relationships and on our partners. And I think having a standard is good. Being able to say what you want in your relationship is good, because if not, someone will tell you what to expect. Someone will tell you what to take. And so if you have your own standard, I think that's good. But if you, I think where some women, I can't say a lot because I don't know every woman, right? But some women, they're very gracious and they give a lot of grace because they love this person and, they want things to work out. But again, having the hard conversations we run away from because it forces you to make a decision. It forces you to look in the face of what the reality is and say, I have had enough, I'm going to walk away, or I believe in this and I trust where this will go, right? And so a stranger on the radio can't make a decision for you. Your family members cannot make a decision for you. Your friends can't make a decision for you. You have to make the decision. And to make the decision, you have to, one, know yourself a little bit better, understand why this is important to you, recognize what your standards are. And if your situation goes against your standards, then make a choice.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Thanks, Miss Megan. You give me a lot of food for thought.
Good luck, child.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller, for your contribution.
Thank you so much.
You see, I'm right here and all listening to Megan and watching her. She puts this out there, and I can see the passion in her eyes.
What a time!
And I can hear the sincerity in her voice. And so, good luck to you with this. But like she said, only you can make that decision. Mm-hmm. Choose ye this day
who you should serve.
All righty, Doc. Thanks. Y'all have a good day now.
All right, ma'am. You too.
Thanks so much.
So, Megan, fantasy or reality? Mm-hmm. Are we chasing a fake Hallmark movie fantasy for Christmas, or is it understandable that should we be able to perfectly accept an imperfect relationship, an imperfect Christmas turkey, an imperfect house set up for Christmas? Are we? What are we doing? What are your takes on that? Are we putting so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect when perfection is not attainable?
Yeah. And I love this question because sometimes I go back and forth, right? So if you know me personally, you know that I am all for healthy delusions. And when I say healthy delusions, I mean you create meaning in your life. And so whatever you want to happen, if it's healthy and if it makes you feel comfortable about where you are in life, then you create that in your world. If it doesn't necessarily look like that to people outside of your world, that's fine. Once you feel safe, you feel healthy, and you're not harming someone, I think creating the life that you want, it takes a little bit of delusion. Okay? And follow me.
Yeah, I got you. Third-person perception is a serious thing.
Right.
And that could poison the well, too.
Yeah, it could. And so here's the thing. Here's why I go back and forth. Perfection does not exist. Okay? Perfection does not exist, one. And perfection is subjective, two.
Correct.
And so if you find yourself, you brought up Hallmark, right? If you find yourself looking at what you think is perfect, and typically that's through a screen, watching a movie, hearing people's stories. A lot of times it's very curated. It looks and it's presented to you a certain way to give the appearance of perfection, right?
Yes.
And so they leave out, motto, I burned the cookies, but I take no picture because I don't want that to be seen. Or, motto,
How many of us throw out the attempts.
Okay.
And we only see the finished product.
Right, because my chicken don't look dry in this picture, but eating it was dry, right? And so I think there's this thing called radical self-acceptance, right? Where it's like a dogged belief in what is real for you, what's reality for you. And it's almost like rebellious to be able to accept what is and be happy about what is, right? And so I think in a way that's delusion. Like, I am committed to accepting what's imperfect about my life, and that's perfect for me.
And I think that's very sound to be able to accept your imperfection.
Yeah.
Once it makes you happy, and you mentioned two things. Once it's healthy, it makes you happy and it's healthy. Right. So once it's healthy, it's not impacting you negatively mentally, emotionally. Once it's serving you in those spheres, then it's okay to be delusional.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your universe. You know, you're in that bubble with whomever you're in that bubble with, and you too are okay. Third person perception matters very little.
Very little. It's like it doesn't exist.
Okay.
And so in the perspective of Christmas, right? So getting ready for Christmas and all the preparation, etc. I think it's healthy to have some kind of idea of what you want, right? There's a blueprint in your mind that says, okay, I want my Christmas to go this way. But I want to caution people when they feel as if that standard is the only thing that can happen. And if it doesn't look like this, then something is wrong with you. Things can go wrong without you personalizing it.
Yes.
And without saying, okay, if this goes wrong, it's a reflection of who I am as a person. And so my decorations didn't come out the way I want to. I must be really dumb. Because that's where the mind goes. Our mind takes us immediately to personalizing. It's what we call a cognitive distortion.
Correct.
And so something happens and we tell ourselves that it went wrong because I'm not a good person or I'm not good enough.
And sometimes it's because we have this latent schema in our minds about ourselves, about our imperfections, and we're putting ourselves down subconsciously. But it only manifests itself when we overtly do something and then to the front of our minds, in our conscious state, we verbalize something negative, and we're being negative about ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we call it a distortion, right? Because I don't know if y'all ever been to like the carnival, and you go in those fun mirrors where they warped. And so you can see that there's some projection of yourself in the mirror, but it's distorted.
Correct.
Right? And so it's a reflection, but it's not a true reflection. And so for cognitive distortions, it's a belief that is not balanced. And so you lean heavily into the negative and you disregard the positive. Not saying that there is no negative that exists, but when we only focus on the negative and we discard the positive, we have imbalanced perspectives. And that's how we get distressed. Right? We get caught up in what's wrong without, well, there may be some good in this too. Well, let's talk about the good too, you know?
Definitely. And so what we want to do is talk about the good and the bad. But we're also going to talk about, after we're going to take a break, and when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about being solo at Christmas.
Okay.
Suffering a breakup prior to Christmas, being single in the Christmas. How do we navigate that? And we want to talk soberly about that. We want to talk about that because we have some persons who are experiencing that, and I don't want to leave them out. So the last part of our segment is going to be dedicated to solo, single Christmas.
Okay.
All right.
Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and binders, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
Girl, you see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she say she bumped into a wall when she's running after the churn them.
Yeah, but last Saturday, you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
What you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora last Friday. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman, does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, you know. Cora don't say nothing, but silence hides violence, and we don't want to line up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business. Then Jack come after me and I land up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text Crime Stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app and we could text them. And the messages get all mix up before it leave your phone so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
Boost your buying power with a margin loan at rates as low as 7.5%. A margin loan offers convenient flexibility, freeing up capital without liquidating your investments. Whether you're looking to diversify, fund a business opportunity, or refinance higher cost debt, RF provides access to cash within 48 hours for any purpose. Tailored, effortless, powerful. Discover how a margin loan can work for you. Visit rfgroup.com or call 603-6000. RF Bank and Trust. Money at work.
This Christmas, Everybody Wins Live is giving you a chance to win a gift of a lifetime. A brand new, fully deeded home. From November 21st to December 26th, every time you play $10 or more, you're one step closer to the keys to your future home. More play means more entries and more chances to win big. Play in-store or online today. This holiday, go beyond winning. Go home for the holidays only with Everybody Wins Live. Remember to game responsibly.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
To see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. D and Megan Johnson. We're sitting in for Stanya Davis, who will be back next week. We're under the mistletoe still, and we're talking about Christmas and managing our expectations and reality versus romance. But what we want to talk about now in this segment is the newly single, the December dump. Who ever been dumped in December?
My Lord.
The December dump. How do we navigate being single in a time that is, we're supposed to be together, happy, flourishing, and fellowshipping? So, what's some tips that we can look at, Megan? To how do you navigate being single? And are you single in the holiday?
Yes, I am single. Praise God, I am single. I think I mean, people talked about the pressure to perform. I put that in quotations. The pressure to show up a certain way in a relationship during the holidays. You know, I think in every season that you're in, there's some silver lining. You know, and that's if you have the belief that you should be in a relationship at all times, right? If that's your belief, then I think there's a silver lining in any situation. But for persons who, you know, have accepted them being single, or they were recently dumped and, you know, they feel okay about the dumping, but they're triggered by what they see around them, I think my first recommendation, right, would be to surround yourself with people that you love. Be with friends, with family, be with people that remind you that you're important without another person, or that no matter what your life looks like, they accept you and they love you, and you have a safe space with them. That I think says more, that does more towards feelings of loneliness, when you have people around you that support you and love you and all those things, you know?
And I think that you're so right, Megan. Oftentimes we find that we frame ourselves in this box. And this box, we have this box that we should be in, where we define ourselves by us being with this other person. And so when we are no longer with this person, we find ourselves at a loss. So what we need to do now is cognitive reframing. And so we need to reframe our cognitions of what we are. We have to be whole individuals in absentia of that individual.
Absolutely.
So we have to be by ourselves whole and able to. There's nothing wrong with going out and having a meal by yourself.
True.
You need to be okay with that. So give me your thoughts on that from a female perspective.
Yeah, I think it's so important to have self-love. We say it as self-love, and self-acceptance. But it's the recognition that, like you said, I am a whole person. I like to say I born by myself, and I can die by myself. I use the bathroom by myself. And so I have to be okay with that. I have to be satisfied as an individual. Okay, here's my challenge in that, though. One of our callers talked about him having the idea that love is European, right? And so it's not as African as the way it's presented to us here on this side of the world. And so I am of the belief that community is important, right? And yes, we can be individuals. We can be self-sufficient. We can rely on ourselves. But I think there's a symbiotic relationship. Like there's a give and take with the individual and their community. Like you can't, I don't feel like we were designed to be separate and apart from others. Does that make sense? And so while I believe that self-acceptance is the foundation for all things, I think another piece of the foundation is community.
And so definitely when we look at the Afrocentric viewpoint versus the European viewpoint, Europeans focus on the individualism. And then the Afrocentric viewpoint is we come together as a community.
Right.
So therefore, and I say this so that our listeners can really grasp into what we're saying and really it may be more palatable to them.
Right.
This is what Megan is also saying is that, yes, we need to be community minded, but we also need to be safe as individuals. Not so safe as individuals that we are selfish.
Or isolate.
Or isolate ourselves.
Yeah.
But just being okay to be or spend some time alone with yourself.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's okay if you want to be alone right now.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you're a recluse. It means that you just want to be alone. You're okay with being alone at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you're open
Yeah.
to fellowshipping.
Right. In fact, being alone. So I have a group of friends, right? For a long time, we desired partnership like that. And I'm not saying that season has ended.
Right.
There is still some desire for partnership within the group, but some of them have coupled up. Some of them have gotten married. And we've all seen different stages of their lives at different times. But what I love about having close community is that they pour into you, right? And they validate you as an individual so much that when you are alone and apart, you're not really apart from them. You know what I mean? It's like...
And that's that Afrocentric point coming in about community coming in, because you need a community. And so what you're talking about is an emotional team. So that team serves you emotionally. That serves you mentally. You can bounce ideas off of this team, but not just any team, a safe team, because a lot of advice that people give out there are not the sound advice. So you don't want to be in a situation where you just take advice from anybody, especially persons who themselves are part of destructive relationships or destructive emotional traumas.
That's important to say, Dr. D. That's important to say.
So you must understand, because a lot of times persons take advice. They take advice from persons who don't even follow their own advice.
Hello. And it's so much easier when you have that circle and you have that community that pours good water, that pours good things into you, that when you are alone, because see, the danger that we think being alone positions for us is, I will feel a certain way, I will feel inadequate, I will feel like I'm not enough, right? But when you're in that group of like-minded people who pour into you, they correct some of those ideas about yourself.
Cognitive distortions.
Absolutely. And so if they're providing corrective experiences for you, when you are alone now, you can challenge those thoughts that says that you are inadequate or that you're not enough or that you need somebody to be worthy as a person. If your group, your circle, your family, your friends would have changed that already.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because challenging those thoughts is something that is very fearful for many persons. They are afraid to challenge those thoughts.
They run away from them.
And so having that community that's serving you in a positive way, that gives you the power and propels you, gives you the power and the mindset to want to challenge those thoughts. When you're alone, when these thoughts are bombarding you, that's a critical component. That's critical.
Critical.
So that's good. So let's talk about the social media trap. You know that many things we look at on our social media feed comes from our search history, our conversations that we have. We always believe that the phones are listening to us. So
they are.
So when we see a flood of certain types of TikTok videos geared towards marriage, geared towards homemaking, geared towards all of this stuff, what does that mean for the person who is sitting home just bordering on the state of depression, going into this, sitting down, looking up at the ceiling in a room all alone at Christmas time?
Yeah, it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap in so many ways. These phones. These phones will get us every time because, like I said, your For You page, your Instagram feed, your TikTok page, all your For You pages, whatever, they curate what they think you want to see. And what you see is a presented image of perfection. It's not the bad. It's not the dirty and the nasty. They show you what looks, someone will want this. And so that is what you see. And so, of course, you're going to compare your life to what you see on your screen, and you will be dissatisfied because it's not real. It's not real life. And so if all that you see on your phone is something that you've been aspiring to and is out of reach, then you, of course, will feel dissatisfaction. You will be unhappy, and you will remain in a state of unhappiness if you don't change what you see, if you don't change your perspective. And I think that's hard to do if you've been, looking at that stuff for so long. It's hard to pivot and kind of reframe. But I believe it's not impossible. I think as simple as getting out of the house and looking at something else, being around others, having time away from negative thoughts goes a long way in changing the way we feel. And if you feel like your mood is something that you struggle with every day, then I want you to look at the kind of thoughts that you're having every day, because our thoughts dictate our moods a lot of the time.
Definitely.
And so if you feel negative, most likely you're thinking negative, right? And you have to ask yourself, what are these negative thoughts I'm having? Where did they come from? Why do they persist? Why do they keep happening? When do they happen? How frequently do they happen? Because if you don't know that, then you can't change them. But if you know, okay, I always have negative thoughts around Christmas time when I talk to this particular person, and you ask yourself, and you can then make a decision, okay, do I need to not spend as much time with this person? Do I need to spend time with other people? Do I need to do other things? Again, introspection, self-reflection. We call it metacognition. Mm-hmm. So it's thinking about the way you think. And for us in psychology, the way we think rules our life. Right.
Definitely. We've learned to journal a lot, and we've learned to journal without a journal.
Hello.
Mental journal.
Yes.
And so everything that we do, we find out why we are impacted, what is triggering us, and how can we sidestep that trigger before we respond. So we do CBT on ourselves sometimes.
All the time.
But I want to hear from our listening audience. Who is newly dumped, or who is solo, who is single this Christmas? What your experience is, we want to hear from you. Please let us know. Guardian Radio 96.9. You can reach us at 323-6232, 325-4316, or 325-4259. Please call us and add to this conversation. Let me and Megan know what being single this Christmas means to you, how you're navigating it, and give some advice to some others who out there there is a community out there who's single this Christmas.
Yeah.
So we're going to be single together, and we're going to go and navigate these waters together. So let us know. We want to hear from you. Again, 323-6232, 325-4316, and 325-4259. Guardian Radio 96.9. Call us and let us know. Dr. D and Megan. So, Megan, as we move on, we talked about being single. We talked about navigating it a little bit. What are some uplifting thoughts that we can use to build ourselves being what we call ourselves is a solo society, because the individual is very vast, all in themselves, and so being single, you're a society all on your own.
Yeah.
So how do we build healthy societies individually as we navigate being single or newly single?
Yeah.
In Christmas.
And I say this to anyone: single, married, divorced, widowed, anyone at any age. It's important that you take care of yourself, okay? We let ourselves go when we're stressed. And when I say let ourselves go, I mean there are things that you neglect in your own self-care that you push on the side because you're in distress. And one of the first things that we sacrifice is sleep.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
We sacrifice sleep. And let me tell you something. Let me tell something to you. Sleep is so important for us in our ability to manage our emotions, to be able to make good decisions, to think clearly, and to just function. We have to sleep. And so a lot of times people find themselves sleeping less or sleeping more. There's some imbalance in the way that we sleep, making sure that we're taking care of ourselves. How can you be your best self if you're tired? How can you be your best self if you're sleep deprived? And so doing what you can to ensure that you get enough sleep, I think is so important, and it will go so far into improving your quality of life immediately. Not saying that you will get back on a regular sleep schedule immediately, but you will find that your quality of life improves when you get enough sleep.
Definitely. And also when we look at the medical component of that, not taking it too far off from our topic, but when we look at healthy lifestyles and when you look at how critical sleep is, when you're not sleeping well, your body goes into a state where it releases some hormones called the cortisol. And when cortisol is released in your system for a period of time, you have high levels of cortisol in your system. That is disastrous to your organs and so forth.
Every single system in the body responds negatively to cortisol.
And so therefore, if we take it from that basic biological and medical level, we see how getting enough sleep could help us in our moods, which then translates in the way that we interact with others.
For sure.
When we wake up in the morning.
For sure.
When we go out, when we represent ourselves.
Yeah. And another thing I would say too, because, when you're alone by yourself, when you're single, or newly single, right? And you reflect on your time with a partner, you probably would have spent a lot of time together and did things that y'all enjoy and you had fun, blah, blah, blah. And so now being single, I think it's important that you prioritize what you enjoy, because some women, some men, they put what they want on the side to cater to the person, or they may compromise or just rest that down for now because I want this to work. Not saying that wasn't a good thing, but we often neglect the things that we're passionate about to cater to the person that we're with sometimes, right? And so I would say, if you're newly single, do what you love to do. If you love making jewelry or going to the movies or walking on the beach, if you like hiking and, taking the long drives, listening to music and going different places, do what you enjoy. If you're not doing what you enjoy, it's very difficult to feel fulfilled. It's difficult. And so when I talk about self-care, it's not just sleeping, it's not just eating properly or getting exercise. It's also about doing the things that make you feel whole, that make you feel satisfied, that, make you feel like yourself, And
I'm going to say something shocking. Well, it's not going to be shocking to you. It may be shocking to some of our listeners.
Okay.
But you hit the nail on the head with that. Oftentimes, people exist in relationships and they're strangers to each other because one person doesn't even know the other person. Because what one person feels that the other person is all about is only a reflection of them. It's a mirror reflecting them, because the other person has put themselves to the back burner or to the side so that they can make this person happy. And so what we need to do when we are newly single is reintroduce ourselves to ourselves. And so, and so those out there, reintroduce yourself to yourself. Let you know who you are, what your likes, what your dislikes are, and do stuff that are fun. Do stuff that make your heart glad. And when you start making your heart glad, when you start choosing your happiness, and that's all encapsulated in what we call self-love. You have to make yourself happy. You have to be the person who's gonna choose you first. And it doesn't mean that you're Eurocentric in mindset. It doesn't mean that you're selfish. But sometimes it's okay to be selfish.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit. Because you have to now put you at a point where you've healed enough to take on another individual in your sphere. So you have to be whole. You have to heal that crack. And once you heal that crack, then you'll be able to take on another person. And as we said earlier, we talked about, we alluded to setting boundaries, but we'll talk about that a little later too.
Okay.
We'll talk about that when we close, about some little tips on how to navigate being single and embracing a new relationship after being single.
True.
So, family, pity or pressure. We go into these family functions and we talk about being single in the Christmas and going to these family functions. Is it, how do we feel about that? There's an expectation from our parents, from our aunts, from our uncles, all family members, they telling you, boy, look here, I still want to eat cake before I die,
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
Boy, the questions come not just in Christmas, okay? Yeah. At every interaction with family members. So you dating anybody? So you find anybody yet? And it's like, well, how would you ask me if I eat every day on time? Or if I pay my bills? How about you ask me?
No, that's not the important part.
No.
We want to know, when we going to dress up?
Right. When we come to dance at your wedding.
Exactly.
But I think for women, at least for me, let me speak for me, it can put an insane amount of pressure, on you to say, okay, well, I can't go around these people if I don't have nobody, because they can be asking me all these questions, or they may think that something's wrong with me, et cetera, et cetera. And so I would always, encourage young people, especially who are a lot more susceptible to what others may think about them. Again, to know yourself and recognize what's important to you and be okay with where you are. You know what I mean? Every season, there's something good in every season. You just have to find it. And so even in your singleness, even in people asking questions, blah, 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 those questions don't define you. A relationship doesn't define you. And so when you're asked, oh, well, I ain't had no feet, I see nobody calling or nobody you going on no dates and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, no, well, yeah, not right now. Now may not be a good time. I'm, trying to make sure that I'm good first before I venture into that space. And that's just one example. You could say whatever you want to say. You could not even answer them. You know what I mean? What's comfortable for you. But I think personally, it will take recognizing that whatever space you're in life, that it's okay. That you're okay.
Yeah, you embrace that space and look at it as an opportunity and not so much as a punishment.
Absolutely.
But it's an opportunity, because it's an opportunity for you to introduce or understand yourself better. It's an opportunity for you to look at some things that you probably wouldn't have thought of had you not been in that headspace. Sometimes it propels you into greatness. Being in that headspace for a short period of time. It allows you to be clear in your mindset, be intentional in your next steps. And so we need to embrace these opportunities, not saying that we run to them, but when we find ourselves there, we embrace them and use them positively to propel us and impact us in a positive way that can yield benefits to us later on in life.
Yeah, for sure. Perfectly said. Yeah.
Oh, well, boy, you see how we've been very loquacious. We've been very loquacious today, but I'm hoping that what we've said to our listening audience, I'm hoping that we've touched. Well, if we can touch only one person today, I feel satisfied. Having regard to what we said, having regard to the importance of the topic today.
Yeah.
And the importance of how it's impacting persons as we speak. Under the sound of our voice, persons are being impacted by this. So I'm hoping that persons can take a little snippet, anything that they take that is valuable to them, put it in their toolbox, a little golden nugget. Take it, remember it, cherish it, and use it for their good. Use it for something that is going to help them and help others around them. So let's talk lastly about managing expectations and boundaries, setting boundaries. Do we set realistic expectations for ourselves during this Christmas season, whether we are in a relationship or whether we are single?
That's a good question. Many don't. Many set the bar really high.
Yeah.
They set the bar really high, and they want certain things to go a certain way.
Yes.
And the difficulty is the crash when it all falls down, or when things don't work out. We suffer.
Definitely. Definitely. So, what about learning to say no? Is saying no difficult? Is saying no something that we shy away from? Are we taking on too much task to please everybody and not saying no enough and being overburdened and then falling into depression during the state of holiday? Is the holiday a state of turmoil for many persons who have the brunt of dealing with making Christmas Christmas?
And I wouldn't talk about the people who have all these Christmas parties, right? Or events to plan, because Christmas time, if you in church or if you in any civic groups or if you a part of any other groups or organization, around this time is really busy. You're trying to organize this and make sure this happens. And so there's a lot riding on your ability to balance all of that. And if you don't carve out realistic expectations in your life, that you will say yes to everything, you will never say no to anyone, and you will find yourself in the corner having a panic attack because somebody ain't answering their phone because they ain't delivered the cupcakes on time. You know what I mean? It's a ripple effect in that every time you sacrifice your own peace of mind, you pay for it in the long run.
And that segues greatly into my next question for you. Do we set or create financial boundaries during the Christmas? Because that's not often a topic that people discuss. We have many family and friends who everybody's looking for a gift.
Yeah.
And the math don't be mathing most times. Because when you look at the price of turkey, the price of, we on the food store, we looking at these prices, and that alone, the meal is a cost. When you look at, you got about 20 nephews and nieces.
And your godchildren.
And your godchildren and all of this. So are we setting realistic financial boundaries so as to avoid us from getting too stressed out during the Christmas? And what does that look like?
Yeah, it calls for discipline. It calls for discipline and the resolve to be okay with disappointing some people, because we don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to make people feel like we've forgotten them or left them out or don't care. But if they love you, if they care about you, then they can hear no. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think that most oftentimes persons, they don't want to hear no.
Yeah.
No is not a comfortable answer to receive when you're on the receiving end of it. But I think that for the person saying no, and if it's their realistic financial position and they cannot do it, I think those who love them and appreciate them should understand.
Yeah. And if they can't understand, then so be it.
Okay, and so we're now at for not the final word, because that's Otland H. Bodie, but that's not the final word. We're saying on this topic, we're going to finally say that in totality, we looked at it. We looked at it and we saw where the relationship adds a stressor to the Christmas season. We saw where romance versus reality could be confusing for many of us. And we also saw where being single at Christmas is very traumatic for some people. And we navigated all of these thoughts, all of these emotions that come to bear, having the difficult conversations at the family gathering about children, about marriage, about expectations that our own family members have of us that may be unrealistic.
Right.
But that cognitive distortion that we have of ourselves was most pronounced in our conversation today. And let's have healthy delusions.
Yeah.
Let's have healthy delusions that we exist imperfectly and it's perfect to be imperfect.
Yeah.
And we should attempt to introduce ourselves to ourselves so that we are whole individuals and we're existing, satisfactorily in a state of wholeness, so that we can embrace others in our sphere positively, and we can positively impact them as we interact with them, and as they interact with us, they positively impact us.
Right.
So we set boundaries, even in our relationships, with our finances. We have those conversations that we need to have. I hope that by this conversation today, you, the listening audience, have been able to take something credible from this to use in your various lives today as you traverse the streets. Have a happy holiday. This is Dr. D. This is Megan Johnson. We're here sitting in for Stanya Davis, who will be here next week. Tell it to Stanya. She's out listening to finding out somebody's business to tell you all next week. But I'll say for now, thank you for being a good listening audience. We appreciate the